Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're jumping back down into the world of Lunar Classic, taking a look at what's been going on most recently, what we would expect to happen next and all that wonderful stuff. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Okay, let's get straight down into business here. Lunar Classic paired up with BUSD. On the hourly chart, Binance is our data source. Now, it's actually held up incredibly well considering the volatility that we saw yesterday with things like Bitcoin and Ethereum and many of the other altcoins. We can see here that basically during yesterday, we actually held up incredibly well, even as we kind of come over into the 19th, which is today, and we can see that we're moving on up. Now, our expectations were to kind of hover around this area here about, 2.28, right, just around here. And we can see that actually we came down a fraction lower, right? So we could come down a little bit more than expected, but that's okay. It's actually held up well considering. So 26416 approximately. Let me just check the low on here as 26400. So it's held up really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to snap it into there so we know that that's our B wave. This does mean that our projections on our C wave are going to change ever so slightly. Our minimum expectation on this is going to be right up here. Okay, so our C wave's minimum should be, in my opinion, this one just here, okay, coming in at 33499. Okay, that's going to be the minimum expectation. Now, as I come across and I kind of think about the Fibonacci retracements, and we're looking more for a 1-to-1, which is a typical kind of move when it comes to these kind of ABC structures, then we're talking about moving up here towards 36761. Okay, so we get into this kind of range where we start thinking, okay, this is a possible area that we might start revisiting. So if we start to kind of think about this structure, we'll go ahead and just put this on here, and we just pull this on. It's actually 6-1, so I'm just going to adjust this down to 6-1 right on there. Okay, perfect. So that's going to be kind of the area that we're going to be thinking about in terms of our next kind of move upwards. We can see that we're kind of starting this at the point of recording this video just here. Don't think this is going to be a straight line though. I would expect us to be a little bit volatile, so up, down, up, for example, something to this effect, in the same way that we do see often within some of these structures over here, for example, where we go up, we come down, we go up, right? And nothing moves in straight lines, so patience is going to be key. You can see here that we actually ended up with quite a few kind of bounces as we kind of ended up down in this lower range. So, and that's again, our expectation wasn't to go down as low as that, it was to be more around here, right? So we can see why the logic in that kind of thinking. Coming down a little bit lower, but holding up well, and now looking for the upward move. Now, our hourly stochastic, okay, this is indicating that we are looking for some kind of retracement, so expect a little bit of a bounce to the downside here. I say bounce, but a retracement to the downside here, just as we lower our stochastic from overbought to oversold again. Okay, so that's going to be expected on our hourly chart. So don't think that we're just moving straight up. That's not going to be the case. As we come up into the 4-hourly chart, we can see that actually we've got a lot of progression here. Okay, so we can continue this move to the upside on our 4-hourly chart. Okay, we're not overbought yet. We're working our way back up there though. And again, we've got to take our time. Do expect some volatile movements. As I said before, right? We've seen it time and time before. 1, 2, and 3 here, for example. And of course, we're still moving this 4-hourly stochastic RSI up. So do expect there to be a little bit of a bounce, or say a retracement, then bounce upwards, just as we kind of aim for this 36761 range. On the 8-hour chart, very much a similar story. We started to pull back down, go up a little bit here, aim for this high before retracing again. One of the big things that we want to be really aware of is there is still this bearish outlook where we go 1, 2, and 3 down here. So this 8-hour chart is telling us that actually we might see a small bounce upwards, but still retrace to the downside at a later date. We don't think the worst is necessarily over just yet. Okay, so as we kind of bring up our daily, we can see our daily is actually looking reasonably good. It's in a good spot down here. Very similar position where we were all the way down at this low range over here. So our daily is actually looking pretty good for a bounce upwards of significance, but we need to go through this little moment of volatility first. It'd be interesting to kind of see whether we end up with that bearish outlook or whether or not we're going to start moving to the upside in a more bullish way. For example, something to like this effect. Okay, a bit too soon to really know which way that's going to go. But it's good to keep a close eye on these things so that we can be more prepared over what is going to happen. Okay, so just be aware that we are looking for some volatile movements on the smaller time frames, specifically our hourly chart here. And then, of course, as we start to really break this up into our kind of higher ranges, we can be a little bit more optimistic as to kind of thinking about the 36761 range at the top here. Okay, now as I've thrown the Bollinger Bands on here, it's just worth kind of keeping a good check on this. We can see that we are pushing that upper band, expanding out after a brief moment just down here. So again, we're looking at coming back. We're probably going to retest back down on the mid band as this kind of expands out a little bit. It'll be interesting to kind of see how this kind of plays, but do expect there to be some volatility on this hourly chart. Now, as I come to the 4 hourly, here you can see that what we're looking for here is to kind of close above this kind of mid band. Okay, so we're looking to test this upper area, so we might push up a bit more before pulling back and all that kind of stuff. Just keep a close eye on this. Again, you know, nothing overly kind of amazing going on within here. We're not getting contracted or anything like that. Not looking for big swings, but we are looking to kind of keep inside this upper area between the mid band and the upper band on the 4 hourly chart. On the 8 hour, very similar story, right? We've been rejected from this mid band this entire time, so getting a closed candle above here going to be a good indication that we are heading up towards our kind of higher area. Now, this higher area is of course going to be testing that upper band. Okay, so you can kind of see here on these averages, but this C wave, the 1-to-1 ratio, is going to coincide with our upper band. So that's going to be a pretty interesting area to expect rejection. Okay, expect it around this area here and then pull to the downside. Even if it is just brief, that's kind of what I would expect to see. On the daily chart, again, we're starting to see a bit of a contraction after a massive expansion. Okay, so this is going to be the big catalyst for us. Okay, as we kind of think about this, right? We had this huge narrowing just over here, for example. Then we got this kind of real big break to the upside, huge expansion down here, and now we're contracting back up. So our daily chart, I think, is going to kind of come in nicely in a bit of a funnel like we had seen over here, for example. Okay, and then we'll get that kind of break to the upside afterwards. Okay, so just kind of keep an eye out this. I think it's going to be a little bit of a slow burner, but we're definitely moving in the right direction in my opinion here for Lunar Classic. Let me turn those Bollinger Bands off, tidy this up a little bit, and just kind of give you my final thoughts before wrapping this video up. Essentially, we should be expecting some volatility on the smaller time frames. We are looking to kind of push up a tad more, pull back, and then move up. We have got the Bollinger Bands supporting a move upwards towards 3.6761 as long as we stay and close above the mid band on the 8 and 4 hour charts. For example, we can see good progression towards our C wave target coming in at a 1-to-1 ratio. But do not forget, of course, guys, that our minimum expectation on these C waves would be a double top scenario, which would be seen as bearish. Okay, so that is coming in at 3.33499, and if we do get rejected from this area, then we are probably going to be moving down in a more significant way. So keep a close eye on that for Lunar Classic. Otherwise, all expectations are to look to move to more the typical range at 36761. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will stay up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Links are in the description. Join us in Discord. Check out the Patreon services, all of it. Anything of interest, check it out, guys. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.